Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I'm actually joined by two of AEC's finest commentators, Joseeph and Ross, and we're going to be doing something of a preview to the season which begins next Wednesday today. We've got some predictions and things like that. So let's just get right into it. Okay, we'll start off with the teams. It probably makes most sense. And yeah, I think we've probably all gone for the same thing for first place, I assume.
I
Uh,
think so, yes.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, yeah, I think so.
So PSR, are we all agreed?
I very much
I
have
have.
PSR first,
I
yeah.
have got PSR first. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Um, let's go to the bottom now of the table. Um, and I think we're probably all the same here as well. And it hurts probably to say it because it feels like unfair to all rate the same team last. But I assume you've both gone with FG.
Yeah,
I have
I
as well.
have gone, yeah.
Yes, I have. Okay. I think from here on though, it gets very interesting. So, what have you guys gone for ninth place?
First of all, let
I
me.
have I have gone for, and it probably seems a little bit unknown considering they've only just come back, but I've gone for TTM. Of course, they did announce their return a couple of days ago, but it's just hard to really picture their roster. I mean, they just threw a bunch of names at us on the announcement video, but I think once we get into the season, I mean, time will tell with them, but yeah, I've gone with them second bottom.
Yeah,
I've followed them up. I've also went TTM. I don't see, like you said, there's no one in that team that stands out as like a well-known figure. I mean, they've also brought back some when they were last open, but like I don't know how these old guys are in the new game in terms of obviously how strong the other teams are. I feel like it's only fair you put them there because we just don't know where they are at the moment.
yeah, I think three for three actually because I've gone TTM as well. And I think other than JT, I just don't think enough of their rosters proven on this game yet, and we don't know if they'll be able to make AEC as well. So I think that's the obvious nine for me. But from here, it's a very close midfield. I think this season.
Yeah, I agree. It's just hard. It's hard to actually put teams, where they perhaps deserve. I mean, you could perhaps give these teams one or two either side, and it'd still be, a generally decent prediction. But should we go on to eighth now because we're
Yes,
making our
yes.
way up?
That's eight.
Yeah, eighth. I've gone for TF10 now. A team that has expanded onto Xbox. I think we're a bit slow making their early signings, but have recently announced, I believe, Yoran, formerly of FRA Nocti as well, the French driver. So, they're slowly starting to strengthen. There is going to be quite a sustainable roster there for AEC. And if they can just get those, big point scoring finishes that some of their drivers are capable of, like a 2D on his day or whoever that might be, then I think they've got a good shout.
Yeah, I've also actually went TF10 team in 8th place. I just said I don't like. There's no one. They're not like I don't see them doing well. Just there's so much stronger. I feel like there's more stronger teams ahead that will do better. But as you said, you can't really count them out. They've made recent signings that can obviously their last season, maybe looking to make a difference this season in terms of points. But just for what I've seen from them in terms of missing out on World qualifying, not that got kicked out of NRC this season, it's like you can kind of see where they come from in terms of them 8th now. But I'm all for surprises, so if they do end up doing well, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah, I do agree actually. I've gone TF10 eighth as well, so we're four for four, all equal. But I just don't think they've got that depth yet in their roster, and they've taken a while to come onto Xbox. And I think they're still building up, and it's definitely an attraction for drivers with the PlayStation side as well. That's obviously been so successful, but I just don't think they're there yet on Xbox. And I think similar reason for seventh place. I've actually gone with Parnell for basically the same reasons as TF10.
I've actually gone Shazoo seventh. Now it probably seems a bit harsh, but we mustn't forget they were very slow off the mark in Tier S last season, only finishing eighth. A few big points scoring finishes from Ilton now Of course, Ruben Paulinho, his gamer tag, really just got them off the bottom. So, if it's anything like a slow start or they just lack that consistency again, I think Shazoo might be for a bit of a rough ride again.
I've gone 7th place. I have put FRT in 7th place. It's a more of a, from what I've seen from everyone else in terms of strong rosters. Like Parnell, obviously this isn't a crossplay tournament. They can't use their PS side, but our Xbox side is still very strong. Recently just signed PR Lucas. He's also one that can score good points for them in terms of Tier S. They've also still got the likes of Este, the likes of Stokey. So you can't write them off in terms of Parnell. But for FRT, it was very close between the two. I couldn't decide on who actually. I couldn't decide on what was going to be 7th, but I don't think it'll be a massive gap between those two for that 7th place. But just in terms of finishing positions and where PR can pick up big points, I have put them just ahead of FRT, where I have put Parnell in 6th place.
Yeah, I think that's also a fair enough order. Just because Parnell obviously so successful outside, like there's no reason why that wouldn't translate across to Xbox. I just think at the moment with I think only Lucas, Jack, and Stokey on their roster. I just think if you have one or two of those just not able to make a day, then you've just got such a struggle to fill out. I think a good lineup every week. For 6th, I've gone with Shazoo actually here. And I think all the way 8th to 5th is actually really close here. But yeah, Shazoo just losing a few drives to TTM, to Parnell as well in a couple of days. Although they have brought in Nigel recently, I just think, especially like you said, Joseph, if they get off to a slow start, it's just going to be a rough season for them. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. 6th place, I've gone for Parnell Racing, of course, for the right reasons. They're well managed. They've got that, winning experience on the other platforms as well. Adding in Stokey, who of course won a race in the mini series. I know that's not too representative, but he is a talented driver. Likes of Lucas as well. I believe they'll be able to extract a lot from the season. And if I was to give them a few words, I'd say hopefully clean and consistent, and they can sort of bounce around that mid pack.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Obviously, 6th I've now gone Parnell, but I do think that is a fair enough call in terms of the order. Now, there's nothing really that separates those two teams of FRT and PR, especially. Nothing really stands out in terms of results. But obviously, last season in Tier S, the FRT got the better edge on Shazoo, obviously, but they also no Parnell last season, so you couldn't really compare the two. But both qualify for World, both strong in their own parts. But even in the mini series, you could see Shazoo were really not that far behind FRT in terms of points. But it'll be good to see how PR can perform against the likes of PSR and VR other people in the AEC Tier S roster. Should we just go on to 5th place since I'm already rambling on? So 5th place, I have gone for Team Shazoo. I have gone for Team Shazoo in 5th place because watching the recent results in NRC and World, obviously only just missing out on World. I do think this season though they will look to improve on that Tier S performance. Also 8th place last season, only beating FG and TIR, so you can expect them to go bigger this season in terms of picking up big points. As you said, Joseph Elton picking up good points already in the mini series in Spain. Still got Venom in there. You got Boberts. You've got also just signed Nigro, and just signed Anthony. So got drivers in there that can really pick up big points for Team Shazoo, and I think the 5th place would be a very good marker for them. Only dropping behind the 4 arguably best teams in the Tier S this season. So, but I think Shizuru can really surprise the season and come in the top 5.
Myself in P5, I've gone for FRT. Now, I really didn't know with FRT because the mini series was such a promise with the likes of Risks and Rain getting second places, and they were just there or thereabouts in most of the races. They were, surprisingly competitive for me, and if they can, get those big points on tracks, the specific tracks that drivers like. I mean, we hear Harv all the time. He loves Portugal from his WR Tier 3 experiences. Portugal's on the calendar, China's on the calendar. Just those, tracks where chaos is likely and they can come through. And yeah, like I say, drivers being up for it, I think will make the difference for them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Joseph. I've gone with my own team, FRC, obviously fifth as well. I just think for the mini series we lacked a little bit of consistency. We were lucky to pick up, or not necessarily lucky, but we picked up those two second places at the opening and the final round, and those really built our sort of fourth place charge in the series. But other than that, we were a little bit more inconsistent in the races. But I think if we can just pull together some consistency. Obviously, Rain's back now. He wasn't there for most of the mini series, and I think we just pull together that consistency throughout the season. We can actually perform really well. But there's definitely just as much chance that we can finish down in even eighth or seventh as well as much as fifth. So yeah, but I think to be fifth, to be behind, I think there's a comfortable sort of a little bit of a gap to the top four here, and I think we all agree because we've all picked the same sort of below there. So I think that'd be a really great performance for us, and I do back us to get it. So yeah.
Uh, so fourth place, I feel like it was quite close. For fourth and third, for me, it was quite a toss and turning of between the both of them. Both have had really strong starts in other tournaments. Both qualify for World. Both looking strong this game. But fourth place, I have gone NVR. I've gone for NVR in fourth place. I do think that they will. They will. I think they will do well this season. I do think it might surprise me if they end up going a bit higher than fourth. I do think they can push for third, but in terms of what I've seen so far with the likes of Liam Bowman, XF1, MVR Stonks, and also the new signing on this new game, you can't write them off. They are such a good team when it comes to certain tracks, especially around Bahrain. Liam Bowman being one of the strongest Bahrain drivers on this game. So, most we know previously VSR last season, majority of them moving back to MVR, and now strong roster should be putting them out for what should be a good few races in AEC. I can expect to see them win, as you said, the likes of Bahrain. I think that's one of the strongest tracks as a team. We can also see them probably win a bit in Britain, along with the likes of Abu Dhabi as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they all get on in terms of in Tier S. But yeah, fourth place I have gone with MVR.
Yeah, myself, I've gone for BRT. Now, it was a toss up between BRT and NVR in third and fourth respectively, but BRT, I mean, I've just got to commend them. Such a brilliant community feel around that team. They really turned up last season, finishing third in the championship. Of course, Joe Murphy going on that incredible run throughout the season, scoring plenty of podiums, plenty of points as well. I just didn't know which order, but I've gone with BRT fourth. I've gone with my gut because I think they're a little bit more likely to rotate. They've got a real mix of no assist talent now, and I think they want to give everybody a chance, but might that come back to bite them?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Joseph. Actually, I've also gone with BRT in fourth. I think it is going to be really close. We saw the battle last season, BRT and VSR, and VSR now is pretty much the same roster as what MVR have now. And obviously, BRT coming out just about on top in that one. But I think this season, with the star power that especially Bowman's got this game to pull out a win and many and like podiums on his best tracks, I think Bowman's definitely got a huge shot of quite almost dragging MVR into third ahead of BRT. So that's why I've gone with them in that order. But it really is a toss up because I think Joe Murphy and Gabor also have that ability. So yeah, I assume for third, you've both then gone the opposite of BRT and MVR.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that is what I've done.
And then that only leaves in second place NRX for all of us.
Yeah,
It does.
so
Yeah, I think the defending champions just declining a little bit this game. PSR just looks so strong. I just don't think there's any way to beat them really.
I wouldn't say declining. I would just say that PSR even losing the likes of Smokey and the likes of Wilson, Skither, still looked really, really strong. And the drivers have already had like Sav, like Kai, signing Arch. Like they're bringing in a top driver, but even Sav's got he's really, really good this game. He's gone clear on some of the tracks, obviously like Kai as well, able to just stick with him majority of the time. So I think just PSR are just back to their best again. They just look so strong at the start of this game, and NRX, and they've brought in good drivers as well. You know, they're M Racer, they've had Quantum come in as well, so they've got good drivers. But I just think that in terms of overall season length, in a season, I think that PSR just do edge NRX this season.
Gonna say it's a massive unknown with Rusty as well, because as we all know, a bit of a slower start to the game cycle. He's got back into the competitive action now, but I think he's yet to have a clean race. Obviously, with all the issues surrounding F1 at the moment, and when the game came out as well, it's just hard to really give him, a pace target, so to speak, as well. So NRX completely reasonable for them to be second. I think maybe take it a long way as well with PSR, depending on sort of how they shake their roster up, like they have been doing as well in like some of the fours tournaments and the back end of twos as well. So we'll see how long that battle goes on for. But from a commentary standpoint, I hope it goes all the way.
Yeah, I do agree. I think NRX are actually closer to PSR than we sort of give them credit for, or predicting them second. And I agree with you actually that unknown of Rusty, who's just been just a little bit sort of slower to get up to pace this game, is I think going to make the difference. Obviously, I think Rusty took 8 or 9 poles last season, which is an insane amount in such a short season. Um, but I just think he's just not got that ability this game in comparison to the likes of Kai and Sav. And naming those names, then I also asked both of you who you thought your drivers' champion would be. Obviously, it's difficult to pick because we don't know who's going to be on the roster, who's going to do the most races. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on who you thought would be the best shout for drivers' champion.
I've gone with the fairly safe option, saying PSR Sav, because I think even if he does half the races, I think he'll be reaching for the Drivers' Championship. It's not something the drivers are particularly concerned about. Of course, they'd rather, win as a team and get their hands on the prizes. But, Sav, 2 races in the mini-series, a first and a second place. He is just very, very hard to beat. And it's unlike him to make any sort of real mistake either. He's a really committed, confident driver. And, yeah, I think he can do it.
I've also followed on with the PSR approach. I'm not going Sav, because I do think Sav will, as you said, might not do all of the races. So I've picked someone I think will do quite a lot of races, and I've gone with PSR Arch. I think that Arch will do a decent amount for PSR this season, and I think that even if he does team up with the likes of Sav, he can pick up a second or a third in about there anyway. So, yeah, I think in terms of points scoring positions, Arch is always in there around the top 5. So I think he'll have a pretty exciting season if he can do a lot of races for the team.
Yeah, final up, I think we've gone with a PSR trio, but I've actually gone with Kai to finish out that trio. And I just think from what I've seen in miniseries, in NRC, in BBS, that Kai he does just do a lot of races, and I just think he's going to be out of PSR one of the ones that does the most, and I think that is going to make the difference to edge the drivers' championship for him. Okay. I also asked you both what your favorite race or the most exciting race you thought would be.
Right, I have gone for the opening round. I have gone for Qatar. I believe that, although it's not everyone's favourite track on the new game, I do think though, the first round of the season, in my honest opinion, is always one of the most exciting ones. It always brings in the viewers, it always gets everyone excited to see where everyone's going to be, how everyone's going to qualify, how the race is going to go, and also a new track. No one's really done a lot of it this game in terms of league racing, other than a few social races here and there. I think it will be an exciting one. Also, everyone will want to have a strong start, so I can see a good amount of lineups going out with all their strong drivers. So, yeah, no, I think Qatar will be one of the good ones.
Yeah, myself, I've gone. Well, I could have gone for the obvious pick, which is Monaco, round 7. Of course, it's bound to be chaotic. There's bound to be, crashes, and definitely a surprise winner, but we'll get onto that shortly. But I've actually gone for Abu Dhabi. I think it's obviously the season finale. The last two season finales we've had in both Tier S and the mini series have just been chaotic. 3 wide moments, on the new configuration. It has just been brilliant, start to finish, every time we've gone there. So I hope it's more of the same, and I hope it comes with a championship decider as well.
Yeah, I think both those really good shouts, but I've gone actually with Austria. I think the power of the DRS and the slipstream, and just the nature of what Austria is this game, and obviously has always been with those basically 3 straights throughout the first and second sector, is just going to lead for some incredible racing. Considering the power of DRS this game, that basically means you can just fly straight past people. So I think we're going to see lots of overtaking at Austria, and I think that's what's going to make it my most exciting race. And Joseph, you did touch on Monaco there, and I did ask both of you how many safety cars you thought we would see in that race.
I went for US combined VSC and safety cars. So
Yes,
I've gone for 4, 2 full safety cars and 2 virtuals. I think I don't know. It was just a nice even number that popped into my head, and I was like, yeah, that sounds reasonable for an F123 race. But I think easily with the debris easily triggering safety cars, we could have the full 5, to be honest.
Yeah, I've went just below. I went 3. I've gone 1 full and 2 VSCs because I feel like there's points in this game where you look at a crash and you're like, well, that's a safety car and it isn't coming out. So I've went, I think there are going to be more VSCs than real SCs, and I feel like they've probably done some sort of change in Monaco so that it isn't just a safety car every time someone crashes. But to be honest though, I don't actually think there's going to be many crashes after the first 5 laps. Cause obviously, Monaco's just kind of the case of just surviving, as some of the in real life drivers say. You just got to survive the track, to be honest. So. It'll be interesting to see how Monaco goes. Wouldn't it be my first choice to go on the calendar, but I've never commented on Monaco before, so it will be an exciting race to say the least.
Yeah, I've actually gone for 2 safety cars, and I think they will both be full safety cars. I don't think I just don't think we see the virtual safety car very often in this game. I've personally not seen it very much in my experience, and I do just think at the top level, AEC Tier S, of course, I just think these guys are just good enough not to crash, and not to crash more than twice. So that's why I've gone for 2 safety cars. And yeah, finally, I asked you who would be the best qualifier, who'd score the most poles, and that's can be a team or a driver.
I think team-wise, it's got to be PSR. Of course, we know how good the likes of Kai, Sav, and even the other drivers such as Arch and whoever might come into the roster. We know how good they are. Sav is 3 from 3 in NRC, and that's on a competitive cross-play grid. So I think even if he races 3-4 rounds, he could be in within a shout of best qualifier. Because otherwise, I think it might alternate round on round. It's been so close in the mini series for pole margin. But I'm going to go for the team PSR, and Sav, if he even races a few, will be up there.
Yeah, I'll back you on that one. I think PSR. Especially for the fact that whenever I've seen them qualify, they always end up qualifying in the top 3, no matter what. Like even in NRC last Sunday in Netherlands, Sav pulling out a 0.7 was something I did not expect to see in that session. So yeah, I do think the PSR, if they qualify strong, they race strong, they'll look to have a strong season. And I think the most poles will probably be something around the 5 or 6 mark for them.
Yeah, I've also gone for PSR, and I've actually also gone for Sav. I didn't pick him as my drivers champion. I picked Kai, but just yeah, as you say, 3 for 3 in NRC, it's incredible figures already to in such a high grid to take every pole so far. I just think he's gonna continue that pedigree and go on to be the best qualifier from AEC this season. So yeah, thanks to both of you for joining me today. I know it's been a little bit weird. My first time doing this. I assume it's the first time for both of you as well. But if either of you have any socials you want to plug or something before we end off today.
Well, first of all, just follow AEC. That's where we'll be for the upcoming Wednesdays. That's what we're predicting here today. So that's certainly worth following. AEC _F1 on Twitter and Twitter. Twitch or X or whatever you want to call it. We've got to be politically correct nowadays, haven't we? But yeah, myself and Greenhorn, I'm sure we'll have a Twitter link or whatnot in the description below. But like you said, our first time really collaborating and doing this sort of recording. I'm sure there'll be many more to come, but again, I just want to say thank you to Noah.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, I hope everyone can tune in to AEC. Also, Wednesday coming up in the next 2 weeks' time. We'll be getting going. As we said, Qatar, first race of the season. So, yeah, no, it will be an exciting one, to say the least. I'll say everyone going in with high expectations, everyone looking to score big points at the start, wanting to get off to a strong start, and I'm sure that race will be just as good as any of the other ones. But yeah, description link should be a Twitter and a Twitch, and I hope to see you all there in 2 weeks' time.
I'm Bruce,
I'm
27, and I'm a carpenter. Glasgow.